Welcome to MindTier Learning, where we make GCSE Geography learning and revision made simple. Today's lesson is on coastal management strategies. In this lesson, we are going to look at how humans try to protect coastlines from erosion and flooding. The coast is a powerful and constantly changing environment. Waves erode cliffs, longshore drift moves sediment along beaches, storms increase erosion, and sea levels are rising because of climate change. This creates a serious challenge for people who live, work, or travel near the coast. Should we build seawalls? Should we add sand to beaches? Should we allow some land to flood naturally? Should every coastal community be protected, or are some places too expensive to defend? These are difficult questions because coastal management is not just about geography. It is also about money, homes, businesses, ecosystems, and fairness. Today, we will compare hard engineering, soft engineering, and managed retreat. The big question for today is, how should we manage coastlines in a way that protects people without damaging the environment? Let's begin with today's learning objectives. Today we will do 4 things. First, we will evaluate the difference between hard and soft engineering. Hard engineering uses man-made structures to control coastal processes. Soft engineering works with natural processes to manage erosion and flooding. Second, we will analyze the cost-benefit ratio of coastal protection. This means comparing the cost of building and maintaining defenses with the value of the land, homes, businesses, and infrastructure being protected. Third, we will assess how human activity depends on healthy coastal systems. Coasts are not just places to defend. They provide habitats, tourism, fisheries, transport routes, and economic opportunities. Fourth, we will understand why managed retreat is becoming a necessity. As sea levels rise and storms become more frequent, it may not be possible or affordable to defend every part of the coastline. So this lesson is about choices. Coastal management is about deciding where to defend, how to defend, and when to work with nature instead of against it. Before we go further, let's go through the key vocabulary. The first term is hard engineering. Hard engineering means man-made structures built to control natural processes. At the coast, examples include sea walls, groynes, rock armor, and revetments. The second term is soft engineering. Soft engineering means working with nature to manage erosion and flooding. Examples include beach nourishment, dune regeneration, and managed retreat. The third term is groyne. A groyne is a wooden or stone fence built out into the sea, usually at right angles to the beach. Groynes trap sediment moved by longshore drift and help build up beaches. The fourth term is sustainability. Sustainability means using strategies that work in the long term without causing serious harm to the environment or future generations. These terms are essential because coastal management questions often ask you to compare strategies and judge which is most sustainable. Before we look at coastal management, let's recap sea level change from the previous lesson. During the last ice age, large amounts of water were stored as ice in glaciers and ice sheets. When the climate warmed and the ice melted, water returned to the oceans. This caused eustatic sea level rise. Eustatic change is global because it affects the volume of water in the oceans. At the same time, the land itself was also changing. In northern Britain, the weight of the ice sheets pushed the land down. After the ice melted, the weight was removed, and the land began to rise again. This is called isostatic rebound or isostatic recovery. Today, the north of the UK is still rising, while the south of the UK is slowly sinking relative to sea level. This makes the southeast of England especially vulnerable to coastal flooding and erosion. So when we manage the coast, we need to think about both sea level rise and land movement. Let's do a quick recap check. Question 1. What is the term for a global change in sea level caused by melting ice? Question 2. Which type of landform is a drowned glacial valley? Question 3. Why are raised beaches found above current sea levels? Take a moment to think about your answers. Remember, eustatic change is about sea level changing globally. Isostatic change is about land rising or falling locally. A drowned glacial valley is different from a drowned river valley. Let's go through the answers. For question 1, the answer is eustatic change. This is a global change in sea level caused by a change in the volume of water in the oceans, such as melting land ice. For question 2, the answer is a fjord. A fjord is a drowned glacial valley. It is usually deep, steep-sided and U-shaped. For question 3, raised beaches are found above current sea levels because the land rose faster than the sea after the last ice age. This is caused by isostatic rebound. These ideas matter because they help us understand why some coastlines are becoming more vulnerable and why coastal management is increasingly important. Now let's think about the big coastal management question: to build or not to build. Imagine you live in a coastal village where the cliffs are eroding at 2 meters per year. The government could spend £10 million on a sea wall to protect the village. But what if the wall only protects 10 houses? Would that be a good use of money? This is the kind of difficult decision coastal managers have to make. Coastal management is rarely about winning against the sea completely. The sea is powerful, and the coastline will keep changing. Instead, coastal management is about choosing where to fight, what to save, and what the long-term consequences will be. A strategy may protect one village but increase erosion further along the coast. A seawall may defend homes but damage the beach. Managed retreat may create habitats but force people to leave land they value. So we need to evaluate each option carefully. Now let's look at hard engineering. Hard engineering means building man-made structures to control coastal processes. One example is a seawall. A seawall is a concrete barrier built at the base of cliffs or along the coast. Seawalls are often very effective because they protect land from direct wave attack. They may also include a promenade or walkway, which can support tourism. However, seawalls are expensive to build and maintain. They can also reflect wave energy back towards the beach. This can increase erosion at the base of the wall and may cause the beach to become narrower over time. Another example is a groyne. Groynes are wooden or stone fences built at right angles to the beach. They trap sand and shingle being moved by longshore drift. This helps build a wider beach, which absorbs wave energy and protects the coast. But groynes can create problems further along the coastline. If sediment is trapped in one place, beaches further down the coast may be starved of sediment. This can increase erosion elsewhere. So hard engineering can protect one location, but it may create problems in another. Now let's look at soft engineering. Soft engineering works with natural coastal processes rather than trying to completely control them. It is often cheaper and more sustainable than hard engineering. One example is beach nourishment. Beach nourishment involves adding sand or shingle to a beach. This creates a wider beach, which acts as a natural buffer against wave energy. When waves break on a wide beach, their energy is reduced before they reach the cliffs or sea defenses. However, beach nourishment is not permanent. The added sediment can be removed by storms or longshore drift, so it may need regular replacement. Another example is dune regeneration. This involves planting vegetation such as marram grass to stabilize sand dunes. Marram grass has long roots that help hold the sand together. Stable dunes can act as a natural barrier against storm waves and flooding. Soft engineering can be more environmentally friendly, but it may not provide the same level of immediate protection as hard engineering during extreme storms. Now let's match the coastal engineering methods to their definitions. The methods are: 1. Seawall. 2. Beach nourishment. 3. Groyne. 4. Dune regeneration. The definitions are: A. Planting grass to create and stabilize natural sand hills. B. Adding new sand to a beach to create a wider buffer. C. Large concrete structure built to reflect wave energy. D. Wooden fences that trap sand moved by longshore drift. Take a moment to match each method correctly. Think about which strategies are hard engineering and which are soft engineering. Let's go through the answers. Seawall matches with C, a large concrete structure built to reflect wave energy. Beach nourishment matches with B, adding new sand to a beach to create a wider buffer. Groyne matches with D, wooden fences that trap sand moved by longshore drift. Dune regeneration matches with A, planting grass to create and stabilize natural sand hills. Seawalls and groynes are usually examples of hard engineering because they are built structures. Beach nourishment and dune regeneration are examples of soft engineering because they work more closely with natural coastal processes. A strong GCSE answer should be able to name examples and explain how they reduce erosion or flooding. Now let's look at managed retreat, sometimes called managed realignment. Managed retreat means deliberately allowing the sea to flood or erode a low-value area of land. This might sound like giving up, but it is better understood as a strategic withdrawal. Sometimes the cost of defending an area is higher than the value of the land or buildings being protected. For example, it may not make sense to spend millions of pounds protecting a small area of low-value farmland if the same money could protect a town, railway, hospital, or power station elsewhere. In managed retreat, old sea defenses may be deliberately breached. This allows seawater to flood low-lying land and create new salt marshes. Salt marshes are valuable because they absorb wave energy, store floodwater, and provide habitats for wildlife. So managed retreat can reduce flood risk and create environmental benefits. However, it can also be controversial because landowners, farmers, or communities may lose land. Now let's look at cost-benefit analysis. Geographers and decision-makers use cost-benefit analysis to decide whether coastal protection is worth it. The first step is to evaluate the land at risk. This means assessing the economic and social value of what might be lost. Are there homes, businesses, roads, railways, farmland, tourist sites, power stations, or important habitats? The second step is to calculate the cost of protection. This includes not only construction costs, but also maintenance costs over time. A seawall may be expensive to build, but it also needs repairing and upgrading. The slide suggests thinking over a period of 50 years, which is useful because coastal management decisions need to be long-term. The third step is to decide. If the benefits of protection are greater than the costs, the area may be defended. If the costs are greater than the benefits, managed retreat may be considered. This can be difficult because not everything has an easy financial value. How do you put a price on someone's home, community, memories, or local identity? That is why coastal management decisions can be controversial. Now let's think beyond coastal defense. Coasts are not only important because they need protecting. They also provide many benefits to humans and ecosystems. One benefit is ecotourism. People visit coasts for beaches, walking, birdwatching, wildlife, scenery, and recreation. This supports local businesses such as hotels, cafes, campsites, and shops. Another benefit is fisheries. Coastal ecosystems such as salt marshes, mangroves, and estuaries can provide breeding grounds and nurseries for fish and other marine life. A third benefit is shipping. Many coastal areas are important for ports, trade, and transport. Channels may need sediment management so ships can move safely. But over-engineering the coast can damage these systems. If hard engineering destroys habitats, reduces beach quality, or interrupts sediment movement, it can harm the local economy as well as the environment. So coastal management should not only ask, how do we stop erosion? It should also ask, how do we protect the natural systems that people depend on? Now let's look at a major UK example, the Holderness Coast. The Holderness Coast is often described as one of the fastest eroding coastlines in Europe. It is located on the east coast of England and is made largely of soft boulder clay, which is easily eroded by waves. Some villages and important sites are protected using strategies such as rock armor or groynes. But other areas are not protected and continue to erode. This creates a difficult question. Is it fair to protect one village if it harms the next? For example, groynes can trap sediment and build up a beach in one place. But this means less sediment travels further down the coast. Neighboring villages may then lose natural beach protection and experience faster erosion. This is why coastal management has to consider the whole sediment cell, not just one location. A sediment cell is a stretch of coastline where sediment moves in a connected system. If you interfere with sediment in one place, there may be consequences elsewhere. You might have said that groynes trap sand and deprive neighboring villages of natural protection. That is correct. You might also have said that important infrastructure may justify localized defense. For example, if an area contains a gas terminal, major road, railway, or large settlement, the benefits of protection may outweigh the costs. However, protecting every part of the coast is extremely expensive and often unrealistic. Another issue is compensation. If people lose homes because their village is not defended, should they be compensated? If so, who should pay? A strong answer should explain that sustainable coastal management requires viewing sediment cells as unified systems. That means decision-makers should think about the whole coastline, not just the place where defenses are built. A balanced answer might say, it may be fair to protect some high-value areas, especially where important infrastructure is at risk. However, if defenses such as groynes increase erosion in nearby villages, this creates social and environmental problems. Coastal management should consider the whole sediment cell and include support for communities that cannot realistically be defended. That is a strong evaluation because it considers cost, fairness, and physical processes. Let's finish by looking at the future. As sea levels continue to rise and storms become more frequent or more intense, coastal management will become more challenging. The UK uses shoreline management plans, often called SMPs, to guide decisions about different stretches of coastline. These plans consider whether to hold the line, advance the line, manage realignment, or take no active intervention. Increasingly, coastal management is moving towards integrated coastal zone management. This means looking at the big picture. Instead of making isolated decisions for individual villages, integrated management considers physical processes, sediment cells, ecosystems, communities, infrastructure, and long-term climate change. In some places, we may choose to hold the line with hard engineering. In other places, we may use soft engineering. In some low-value or high-risk areas, we may need to allow nature to take its course through managed retreat. The key point is that future coastal management must balance safety, cost, fairness, and sustainability. If you found this lesson helpful, please take a moment to like the video and subscribe to our channel. Your support really helps us continue to create valuable content. Thanks for watching.